Welcome back as we continue our journey around Pennsic. Next, we're going to look at Harnischfechten. It's a German term for armored combat and refers to a type of fighting that appears in historical fencing manuals from the 14th to 16th century. It's a key part of historical European martial arts, or HEMA. It was fascinating to talk with some of the people involved with the SCA Harnischfechten experiment. The Society for Creative Anachronism has a long history of armored combat, often called heavy fighting, which traditionally uses rattan weapons. However, Harnischfechten is a newer experimental program.
My name is Scott Wilson. In the SCA, I'm known as Earl Sir Brian McBrand. And what we're interested in doing in the SCA here is, in this particular case, is to practice fighting in harness as if using the techniques that they would use to defeat harness. So our main intention is to do all the things that would hurt a guy wearing full harness while we're wearing full harness. So as a result, we have to be a lot more careful in the way that we do it. But we're practicing those techniques which would wound and or kill somebody in harness, but we're not practicing to the physical extent effort. And of course, we're using blunted weapons with rubber tips and such. Within our system, the way it works is blade armor is essentially mostly invulnerable. Now, smaller plates are vulnerable to things like axe hits because the crushing is part of it. But the sword strikes don't cut plate, and the point doesn't cut plate. So, in order to be capable, in order to win your fight or get a point, I have to try to strike either your mail or maybe your elbow pit or palm or some part that's not covered by mail.
Right.
Now, if I just touch mail, it's just like most of the SCA. One touch is considered sufficient to penetrate nothing, cloth.
Right.
Okay, but if we're striking mail, I have to put my point in, and then I have to push with structure. I can't jab like this. I have to push with structure against them, and that would be considered a point against mail.
One of the most striking things about this community isn't just the combat itself, but it's the passion of the participants. These are not just fighters, they're scholars, craftsmen, and dedicated historians, and they're absolutely bursting with a desire to share what they're learning. You're not just wailing on someone, you're actually following techniques.
We're not just wailing on each other, no. We are trying to follow techniques. But of course, even in the stick combat, they're not just wailing on each other. They're trying to follow techniques. And I would say that in our early stages, we've got some very experienced people that have been doing it for 15 or 20 years, and we've got some very inexperienced people that are just starting.
Mm-hmm.
And as a result, you have a mixed variety of techniques that you'll see being used out there, some being better, some being worse. But the idea that we have tried to build around the community that wants to do this, based on the understanding that we're really trying not to hurt each other using techniques that would really hurt each other.
Nope, go underneath. Where are you going down? That's not going to work.
Well, we do try to, when we can, try to set ourselves up with more shade and such.
We're basically fighting in a Dutch oven.
Yeah, it is very difficult. In fact, that is one of the things that really differentiates what we do here in putting ourselves in complete harness, or as complete as we can. In fact, everybody prides themselves on having the most complete, the best, the nicest harness, and that's more competition than the throws and thrusts.
Right, it's doing all the research and figuring out exactly what it would have looked like. So if someone from the Middle Ages came to life today, they would go, oh yeah, that's...
Yeah, they should recognize us as one of them. Yeah, that would be ideal. And so that's a huge part of the competition aspect. But there's a competitiveness on a one-to-one. You walk out of that guy, well, he's going to try to stick you with that point. I prefer not to happen, and the easiest way to do that is to stick him first.
Right.
So a lot of my planning is to get him first or to catch him trying to do something to me. And then, then there's some victory things. If I can throw him to the ground or shove him out the gate or take his weapon from him, those are all valid methods by which to win the fight.
On the day I ran into these guys, they were reviewing technical skills. Even though I am not part of the group, they were more than willing to explain the steps and their ways of fighting.
Replicate them, so it's not just this shot and this trick and that trick and this thing and that thing, but there's a fundamental science of movement. There's a footwork, right? There's postures. It's like any other martial art, but it's explained in a slightly more scientific way. Because it's Western, right? And that essentially, if you look at the history of Fechbooker, they were striving for more and more quote-unquote scientific description of movement, and then they finally said this is ridiculous because it's not a science, it's an art, and it's about the application, which is any modern fencing coach can tell you that training people in fencing is a science, but applying it is an art. So
absolutely.
Right? So that's the thing. Doing steps. How's your breathing?
Moderate.
Okay. Well,
We see a lot of very new guys that will seriously keep their distance because they don't want to grapple.
Can't do that. So let's just demo something. If I lean over, this is how people. I guess I'm gonna hold my sword. I just want to demo stuff. So if I'm leaning over, right? I'm trying to move him by leaning over. I'm top heavy. I'm wearing a suit of armor, right? And then all Brian has to do is just put his hand behind my head and throw me to the ground.
You can throw them right back.
And throw me right to the ground. Right. The helmet is also a good lever point. Grab someone's helmet, throw them on the ground. Mm-hmm. Right. So the idea is structure, and I'm going to explain a little bit of footwork. So we want to be long and low. You always want to be low. Doesn't matter kind of what the stance is. Fiore de Liberi, in his treatise of 1409,
And do your squats.
Yeah. He's really into these. He talks about all these postures. They're all long and low, and then there's footwork. Mm-hmm. We've got our passing step, right? We can do a volta or a triangle step. I can do structure. I really got to be up close and personal and put myself in a line between his feet from either here or here. Again, think triangle. So let's say I managed to put myself up. This is a good throw. I got the push-pull going on here. You guys hear me?
Yeah.
I'm on the wrong side. I get a push-pull. I can put that right in there, right? Getting behind somebody is very good, right? We're kind of slippery.
Where can people find more about you?
You can find me at Darkwood Armory, darkwoodarmory.com, and here at Pennsic.
Well, that was pretty awesome. What an incredible look at Harnischfechten here at Pennsic. These warriors are bringing history to life, one swing at a time. It's intense, it's smart, and it's full of passionate people. Hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to hit like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.